Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take a look at people quitting their job. Let's get into it.
If you're miserable at your corporate job and you want to quit, I did it. I did it 2 months ago. I worked corporate 8 to 5, Monday to Friday in an office for 5 years, and I had enough. I drew the line and I quit. I had just about enough of going into an office and looking at a computer screen and doing worthless work and not being appreciated for it and being underpaid and reporting to somebody who didn't give a shit about me and being treated like a child, being denied a PTO request when it's my life. All of it just built up and I just about had enough.
Yeah, I think everybody can see where this person is coming from. I can't imagine doing 5 years of, meaningless work, staring into a computer, and on top of that, getting underpaid and then just reporting to people who don't even value you. That will just burn anyone out. And honestly, a lot of people don't quit because they're scared of what is on the other side, but when you reach a breaking point like this person, it's not even about the money anymore. It's like about your sanity. And the sad thing is, corporate love to push the idea that you are replaceable. So they'll just pile more work on you and then hope you don't push back. But people are starting to wake up. They are realizing, why am I giving the best year to a company that doesn't even care if I'm happy, healthy, or fulfilled? And quitting isn't always easy, but staying in a soul-sucking job can be even worse. And I personally respect anyone who finally say enough is enough, because at the end of the day, your mental health and your peace matter more than any paycheck.
I had enough I was at my breaking point when I wanted out more than I wanted to breathe. The only thing I ever talked about was, I want to quit my job. The 9 to 5 sucks. I cannot do this. And I was serious about it. I told everybody, and everybody's response was the same. It was, what are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do. That's just life. It is what it is. Welcome to reality. That was what everyone told me. And to me, I looked at everyone like they were crazy. I'm like, you've accepted that this is reality? And I just never could. And I think that me not accepting it is the reason that I'm out and that I'm doing better financially probably than ever.
I think a lot of people settle because they feel safe, but safe doesn't always mean happy. And the fact that his co-worker just accept that reality, it explains exactly why so many people stay stuck. They can't imagine something better. And I respect them for saying, I'm not doing this forever.
Now that I've been out of my job for 2 months, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty when I quit my job. I was nervous, like anyone would. You're never going to feel ready. I didn't really feel ready, but I knew I had to do it. I had to take the leap. If I'm not going to do it now, when am I going to do it, right? I'm 26 years old. It's like, what am I going to do? Wait till I'm 40 to do it? No, I want to take control now. I want to live my life. I have one life, right? That was kind of the thought I had. I was like, you know what? We only get one shot at this life. And once it's over, it's over. And it's like, am I going to sit here another day and waste my life sitting behind a computer screen doing somebody else's work for them? When I'm super ambitious and I think I have more to give and I have more value to provide, and it never was for me.
And I respect them for saying, I'm not doing this forever, because honestly, the scariest thing isn't about quitting. Is more like waking up 30 years later and realizing that you wasted your whole life doing something you hated. And I don't personally recommend quitting without a backup plan. Just stick with it just a little bit longer, save as much money as possible, maybe 3 to 6 months, and before I can quit. But again, if that job is really taking a mental health or physical health on you, then yeah, just quit right there. But if you can just stick with it a little bit longer and stack up cash, that's the best approach.
Right? And I guess if you're sitting here watching this thinking, I'd love to quit my job and maybe do what you're doing and work online, I'm here to tell you you can, but be smart about it, right? Like, I didn't just cold turkey quit. I had so much pain from my corporate job, but I took that pain and put it into something else. I put it into working to get out, right? I put everything else aside. I put all of my things I loved doing aside and just started stacking skills and learning about entrepreneurship and getting better. And then obviously, familiar with my story, making money on TikTok Shop, finally had a breakthrough, and now I'm doing social media full time, right? But it's like, it didn't happen overnight. And for you, if you're at square zero, you can't compare yourself to somebody who is making $100,000 a month and you're sitting there thinking, I'd love to be that guy, right? Like, you can't think that. You have to think, actions can I take right now to get to that point? You have to work backwards. Okay, it's not going to happen overnight, but be smart, plan. If you're in a position to where you're absolutely miserable at your job and you're just depressed, get out of that job and just get a new one, and then get some of your time back, and then work towards that goal to eventually get out of that job. Okay, that's what I did, at least. But what I don't want you to do is just give up and say, yeah, that's reality. Nah, that's just for, so many people do that. And if you do that, then you've already accepted your future. You've accepted that as your reality, and you will not have the future that you feel like you deserve to have. So
I'm only 2 years into working my 9 to 5 job, and this is awful. So you're telling me I'm having the Sunday scaries every week to dread 5 days of my life, to then be rewarded with a little thrill on Friday, but then be so tired from working that I pass out at like 10 p.m. Live for Saturdays, love them, but really that is only one full day of fun, because Sunday, have a great Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon rolls around and I have the Sunday scaries and I'm dreading my life for the next 5 days.
Yeah, she's not wrong. The whole cycle, the Sunday scary, dragging through 5 days of work just to get that little thrills on Fridays, and then just crashing out at 10 p.m. because you're just so tired, is the reality for most people, including myself. And it really make you stop and think and just ask yourself, is this really what life's supposed to be? Living to survive the work week and just, squeezing life into Sunday. That's the reality for so many people. And honestly, it's just, so draining. And it's no wonder people talk about quitting, and then just kind of starting a side hustle or looking into something that's actually giving them energy instead of taking it away. Life is too short, and spending it on waiting for the weekend is just not the best way.
I went to college for 4 years to be stuck in this cycle. What? No, 2 years is enough. So I'm on TikTok and I'll be promoting products and posting my way out of this god-awful cycle. I cannot settle for a life of dread, especially if they want us to retire at 70 now. No. I'm going to be using the internet because I see people making a fuck ton of money on here, and you can be making a fuck ton of money by creating digital products, selling those, and then promoting products that you didn't even make. So yeah, that's my plan. That's what I'm going to be doing to get me out of this god-awful cycle, because I cannot take another second of it. Happy Sunday, though.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're saying that we're supposed to retire at 70. Like, what are we even working for? Spending decades dragging through a soul-sucking job just to, maybe enjoy a handful of years at the end. It just doesn't make sense.
Today was one of those days where I felt like life is just passing me by and I'm not doing anything with it. Like, it is actually insane how monotonous life can get as an adult. Specifically, if you work a 9 to 5, like Monday through Friday, we are literally the definition of insane. We get up, go to work, go to the gym, come home, and go to bed. What kind of life is that? And then let's not forget that Saturdays are basically spent the entire day running errands, doing everything that you didn't have time to do Monday through Friday. And then Sunday comes and you get the Sunday scaries because you're like, oh, I have to do this whole routine over again. Like, where is the time to actually live and enjoy life?
Yeah, what she says is so relatable. It feels like life have become just, this copy and paste cycle. You wake up, you commute, and then you sit at the desk, and after that you just hit the gym if you even have the energy. Then after that you just go home and crash. You don't have any times or any energy left to work on anything else. And then the only real free time you get is Saturday. But then, as she said, that's when you run errands. That's just time for you to do laundry, grocery, cleaning, all the life admin stuff that you've been pushed off all this week. And then when Sunday comes around, instead of just enjoying it, you already dreading Monday. Most people, or should I say, most Sunday for most people ends around maybe 1 p.m. Because after that it's just getting ready to go to work tomorrow, and it sucks. That is just not living. That point is just surviving on repeat. And the wild part is that so many people think that this is just normal life, but when you step back, does really feel insane. And like are we working to actually live, or are we just living to keep working?
And I just don't understand, like, is this really what our purpose of existence is? To just like do the same thing over and over again? Like, when you think about it, most people are insane, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And like, yeah, you can change up your routine here and there. You can do something different in the morning, something different at night. But if we're talking about as a collective whole, like going from the day we're born to the day we die, I feel like we spend majority of our lives just doing this rat race. And it quite honestly eats me alive, because if I were to be on my deathbed right now, I don't know if I could honestly say that I'm proud of the life that I lived, because there are so many things that I want to accomplish and do. And it's like, how am I supposed to find the time to do that with all of the other things that I'm required to do as a citizen and a working person? It's just like, life is going to waste, and I don't want to waste my life, because I actually really enjoy life, and I know there's so many things that I have yet to experience, but there's just such a disconnect between that versus what the expectations are as a human in this world. And it's like, how do you get out of that? Like, one of my biggest fears is getting old one day and being like, I didn't get to accomplish anything that I wanted because I simply couldn't. And that's why I feel like so many people in this world, specifically people in their 20s, I would even argue, feel like they're under so much pressure to get everything perfect and right all the time, because we are striving for this freedom that is like calling to us on the inside from our soul. And it's like, every day that goes by without me hitting a new goal or getting some big achievement, I feel like that day has gone to waste.
Okay, so the next video is quite interesting. So it's basically a person talking about how they just recently quitted a 6-figure corporate job to become a coffee barista. And yeah, let's take a look.
I quit my 6-figure career and now I'm a coffee barista. I know, every corporate millennial's dream. What can I say? I'm living it. Even though I have no idea what I'm doing with my life, I don't know what's next, I'm always lost, I always feel uncertain, I'm in the unknown. It's days like today where I have to remind myself that this is the life that I wanted and that I dreamed for when I was working that miserable corporate job. I get to meet all types of different people each time I work. I love making coffee, I love using the espresso machine, and I'm grateful. I'll take this over pointless Zoom meetings, Excel files, making PowerPoint decks any day. Even though I'm still struggling to pay off my credit card debt, I'd take this life over that life any day.
And yeah, I think a lot of us feel that way as well. If possible, we would like to trade, a lower salary just to have a peace of mind, slower mornings, and then just actually enjoying life instead of just grinding through it. And, he just did what so many people just wish we had the courage to do.
Does anyone else find this insane? Most of us spend our days at jobs that we don't even like. We literally trade our time just for a paycheck, enough to cover the bills, taxes, barely even survive. Then we come home, maybe get a couple hours to ourselves. By then we're freaking exhausted, plop on the couch, watch some Netflix. We're too drained to actually live. We get stuck in this cyclical cycle. We go to bed, we wake up, we do it all over again. Then the weekend shows up and it feels like freedom, but it's gone in the blink of an eye. And then Monday comes around and we're right back in it. But here's the thing, there's more to life than this. Life is supposed to be about peace, connection, and actually enjoying your days. I'm not saying don't work hard. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just working to pay the bills and wait for your breaks is freaking nuts. And then people love to say, just find joy outside of your job. And I get it, that might work for some people, but me as an HSP, I have to find meaning in the work that I do. So I don't know about you, but I've decided that I deserve more than survival. And I always start by asking myself, how do I want to feel? And the words that keep coming up for me are flexibility, freedom, joy. And I want to contribute to someone else's health in a real positive way. You truly can have more joy, more rest, more purpose. And I am choosing all of it. Is it just me or does anyone else feel this way?
Yeah, I don't think she's wrong. I don't think she are alone in this. You know, a lot of people are just running on autopilot. You know, sometimes I find myself in that situation as well. You know, people trade their hours, most of their life for a paycheck at a job that they don't even like. And then, you know, by the time you get home, you are too drained to work on yourself or anything you actually care about. And then, you know, the weekend comes and then it just flew by very, very fast. I'm not sure why, but every single times, you know, Friday to Sunday is the fastest time ever. And then Monday comes again and you get that little Sunday blues, and you get that little anxiety that you have to worry about because work is tomorrow. And that cycle does feel like it is sucking the soul out of you. And the crazy part is most of us are taught this is just a normal life. You know, it makes you wonder sometimes, is this really what life's supposed to be, or are we just, you know, settling because we are scared to take another path? I don't have all the answer, and I'm just kind of like asking myself this question as well. And that's why I work really hard, save as much as possible, and hopefully we can all get out of this system one day.
Who actually works a 9 to 5? I mean, literally, do you work 9 to 5? Okay, because I can't find a 9 to 5. I'm working 8 to 5 with like not that long of a lunch. Where are you working 9 to 5? What a way to make a live. Sorry. But seriously, do you actually work 9 to 5? Where did y'all find these at?
Yeah, the funny thing is I wondered the same thing. Who actually worked 9 to 5? You know, I feel like that just an idolized version of a job that people talk about in the songs or in the movies, but most of us are working 8 to 5, sometime even earlier, and that's not even including the commute. Most people spend an hour or maybe more just to drive to work, plus, you know, getting ready in the morning as well. You know, we can't teleport, unfortunately. So, you know, when all of those add up, a supposed 9 to 5 job can easily turn into a 10 to 11 hour just dedicated to work. And no wonder people are drained by the time they get home. And by the time the weekend comes, you know, you are barely able to enjoy it because Sunday night hits and you already dreading Monday. It really makes you think about how much our life we are actually spending work versus living. And the idea of, you know, 9 to 5 sounds nice on paper, but in reality it's more than that. And the crazy part is most people just accept it like it's normal and they don't even question it. But once you start to add all of those hours, it's wild on how much our life is just gone to work.